Hey folks, and all be all here, and we are back with the very final match of the season. We have had an undefeated run so far, so it's been a good season, 11 and 0 so far. Let's see if we can make it 12 and 0. So we have a lot at stake. Today's match is a good one. It's with a good opponent who usually keeps a really good defense. But before we head into the match itself, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about some scouting techniques that I use. And I'm going to talk about some conventional resources which are available to all of us, and then some specific resources that I use to gather a little additional insight and intelligence on my opponent and try to tailor my offense and defense to each opponent. What exactly I do to customize my offense and defense. And this is something I do for every single opponent because Grand Arena is the one part of the game that I tremendously enjoy, and that's the one area where I like to put in some amount of thought and effort. So it's fun for me essentially. So let's go ahead and dive into the matchup itself, and I can use my current matchup with my opponent as an example of what I do to prepare. So just to give you guys an idea, so let's take a look at our current opponent. So we are facing Lexi, who's a Kyber combatant, pretty decent lifetime ban is 530k. He's already reached Kyber, and you can see over here he's reached Division 1 Kyber 400 rank before, so pretty decent. And he does know how to tailor his own defenses to opponents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the matchup and talk about a few conventional resources which are already available that most of you should be aware of. The first one obviously is going to be the DSR bot. So if you go to any Discord channel, most of them have this particular service available where you just go in and type in your ally code, you type in your opponent's ally code, and you get all stats available for this one. I think is the hot bot. There's another one called the DSR bot. So comparison bots are one resource that you can use that will give you a lot of information, at least high level information about what kind of opponent you're facing, what kind of lifetime banners, what kind of over under offense defense wins, what kind of mods they have, whether you outmod them or they outmod you, relics, and then obviously some main characters and the speeds on them. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this since most of you must be familiar with this. The second thing that everyone already knows about is Grand Arena Championship history, where you go to swgoh.gg and you can go back up to 3 weeks in the interface. But if you modify the URL, you can go back to up to 15 weeks to see how your opponent has performed, what kind of defenses they usually face, what kind of offense they usually take on, and so on and so forth. Um, so this is what everyone usually does. The additional thing that I do is so I had a viewer of mine who helped me create an Excel sheet with which helps to scrape the data directly from swgoh.gg in an Excel format. So the information is exactly the same as you'll get on the swgoh.gg site, but it's since it's in an Excel format, it's a little easier to manipulate and move around, and you get tons more insight than you would navigating through the swgoh site itself. It's a little cumbersome going through the browser model, the browser by itself. But let me show you the what I have in the Excel. And this is something which I used to do manually before, where I used to go in and for the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks, I used to go in and check swgoh.gg and see what my opponent has kept on defense, and then plug those values in. But this since this viewer of mine, Dr. Pivot, he came up with this really good method for pulling the data directly from the site, and I've been leveraging that as a baseline to create some customized views of myself. And I'm going to use this particular matchup as an example of how I see my opponents doing and what kind of insights I can gather from it. So this data that I've pulled right now, and what used to take me about an hour before, now I can get it done in 5 minutes just because of this wonderful tool that Dr. Pivot has helped me put together. So just to give you an example, my current opponent is let's see, he is who was he? Lexi from the guild Les Flames d'Endor. So I've gone in and pulled all of this data, and this one is the last 3 weeks data that I have for my opponent, laid out clearly in one single view in the Excel. And here I have whether they've lost or won that particular game, and then I have the exact order in which their teams were attacked. So that gives me an idea about how their team was set up and how their defense was set up, and what kind of teams that they really like to use. Down below over here, you'll see I've got additional details. Now, these are only the leaders. Like this is each of the leaders which have been kept. And if you want to find out more details about each of these teams, what I have is a complete data dump over here from the site itself for each week. So what I can do is say if I want to take a look at how many times he's kept Grievous, I can just go in here, filter for Grievous as the leader, and you can see over here he's kept Grievous almost every single match, except for these couple of weeks where his opponent did not reach the Grievous team or it was a no-show. But in all other matches, he has kept Grievous, and the comp that he likes to use for Grievous is he goes with the four main droids, which is Grievous, B1, B2, and Magna Guard, and then he switches it up between Newt and BB-8. He almost has never kept Droidica in the last 3 weeks, that you can see. And lately, he's been keeping a lot of BB-8. So number one insight that I can gather is I can expect to see Grievous with BB-8 in the team, which means that I need to keep my Night Sisters with Thousand Lead ready to be able to take this team out when I see it. So that's the first insight that I can find. The second one, if you can see over here, I've highlighted the ships in yellow, and the GLs in blue. And for ships, he always likes to keep Admiral Akbar and the Chimera on defense. So I can safely keep both my get ships on defense and save the rest for taking out my opponent's defenses. He's always kept only one GL. He's got two GLs, Supreme Leader Kylo and Jedi Master Luke. He's always kept his Jedi Master Luke on offense, has only kept Supreme Leader Kylo on defense throughout. And the comp that he's kept for Supreme Leader Kylo, you can take a look at it over here, is he's initially for the first few weeks, he went with the Daka Night Sister Zombie comp. Let me just move this up. So the first few weeks, he went with the Daka Night Sister Zombie comp, which for the first couple of weeks. And lately, in the last week of Grand Arena, in the third week, he's now been going with the First Order Officer and First Order Officer and Kylo Ren Unmasked. Those are the teams that he's taking in the latest comp right now. So I can expect to see definitely the SLKR team without the zombie, because I think what he's doing now is without the zombie and Daka. Nowadays he's stopped keeping SLKR with the Night Sisters. So I can expect to see Night Sisters as a separate team. So let's take a look at that. How many times he's kept the Night Sisters on defense. So I'm going to go over here, and there's no Asajj over here as leader, so he's only kept Mother Talzin as the lead. And you can see over here, except for the first couple of weeks where he kept his Night Sisters with SLKR during this time, in the last week, he has kept his Night Sisters with Enfys Nest. So that's the other thing that I can expect to see is Night Sisters with Enfys Nest on defense. So that's something good to know and good to expect. And all of this information can be found on the SWGH site, but seeing everything in one place in a single snapshot, all of the weeks or all of the last 3 weeks, is just so much more convenient to drive insights. So that's a Night Sister team. Let's see what other team he likes to keep on defense. So you can see over here, he's kept Padme almost every single time. So I want to see what kind of a Padme team he keeps, because that'll inform what kind of decision what kind of team I need to take in as offense to tackle the Padme team. And you can see over here for Padme, he's kept the four main teams: Ahsoka, Anakin, General Kenobi, and Padme. Those are the four main ones he's kept as common throughout. And he's basically altered between R2D2 and Shark T as the other two options. And in the last week, he has kept R2D2 as the as the fifth in the Padme team. And you'll notice that since he hasn't kept C3PO in the Padme team, I can safely take my EP as a counter to Padme because EP lead usually does not work if C3PO is in there. It makes the counter really tricky. So I can take my EP Vader and maybe Thrawn or Trey or something like that to counter this Padme team because he does not have C3PO. So that's the other insight that I can gather from this. Um, and the other thing to note is he has unlocked Jedi Master Luke at the end of the second week. So between the second and third week is when he has unlocked it. So the third week is when he had him available. So I can assume that he's probably using Shark T with his either his JKL team or with Jedi Master Luke. So that's probably the reason why he's not using Shark T in Padme team for the last week. Let's see what else we can figure out over here. Newt and Dooku. Let's take a look at that. So he's usually kept either Newt or Dooku on defense. So I'm going to filter for both of them over here. And you can see Newt and Dooku. He is usually kept Newt and Dooku together, and he likes to keep Wampa with either Newt or Dooku. For the first couple of weeks, he's kept a Dooku lead. For the last couple of weeks, he's kept a Newt lead, and he's always kept Wampa and Droideka along with Newt and Dooku. So that's something which is good to see. And Jango Fett as well. So he keeps his Jango Fett separate from the Bounty Hunter team under the Newt or Dooku lead. And he's also kept L3 a few times, but that's probably only a couple of times. Nowadays he doesn't keep. So I can expect to see a Newt or a Dooku team with Jango Fett, with Wampa, with Droideka in there, and I need to get a counter ready for that. So I'll probably take my Aura Mando team for that. And the other thing to note is he has kept Bosk and Django lead also at times. But that's only for the first couple of weeks. So you can see over here, the last week he has not kept any of his bounty hunters teams on defense. So even though that was quite popular for him in the first couple of weeks, in the last week and probably in this week also, he probably will not keep a bounty hunter team on defense. So that's something that I can completely discount altogether and not have it and not expect to see it. Let's see, am I missing anything else out? Mon Mothma. So he also likes to keep Mon Mothma on defense. So let me go and filter for Mon Mothma. And you can see over here, almost every single match, he's kept a Mon Mothma team on defense. The first two matches of the last week, his Mon Mothma team wasn't reached, which is why it doesn't show up over here. So I can assume that Mon Mothma is probably going to be at the back, behind the zone which has Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. So that's the reason that it wasn't broken through. So that's something I can expect to see on defense at the back zone. And the team that he likes to run with for Mon Mothma is Biggs, Wedge, Lando, and Pow. So that's the Mon Mothma team that I can expect. It's not the Turn-Meter Train version of it, so I can probably plan to take it out relatively easier. And I think that's basically the bulk of it. He's largely predictable in the defense. So I can looking at this, I can estimate exactly what to keep on offense and defense. So what I do over here is after I go through this data and go through each potential lead, I prepare a list of let's see. Um, Where do I have this? Yeah. So I prepare a list of probable defenses and that I'm expecting to see on defense and what the counter for that should be. And once so this is what I've based on the data that I've collected, this is what I can expect to see on defense. I'm going to see his Admiral Akbar and Chimera fleet on defense. And an interesting thing about the Chimera fleet that he keeps is if I go in here and take a look at Chimera, he likes to run the Chimera without the Vader fleet. Let me just move this up. Yeah, so you can see over here, he likes to start with the Houndstooth, Imperial Bomber, and the TIE Fighter. But there's no Vader at all in this lineup at all. I'm not sure what he does with Vader because he does have a relic Vader, and surprised that he doesn't run Vader in the Empire team. But maybe his purpose is mainly to draw out banners. So I can probably take my Radis or something against this. And for his Rebel fleet, Home One, he likes to start with the Scarif Rebel Pathfinder, Biston's U-wing, and Millennium Falcon. So that's so I should plan for something accordingly. All right, so let's go back to the probable defense that I think he's going to set. So this is what I feel my opponent is going to set. He's going to set the Admiral Akbar and Chimera fleet at the back. He's going to block the ships with the Supreme Leader Kylo at the top. Um, he's going to have a Grievous squad with BB-8 in there. He's going to have a Padme and R2 team for sure. He's going to have a Talzin team with Nest. He's going to have Newt Gunray with Droideka Wampa and Dooku. And he's going to have a Mon Mothma team with Wedge, Biggs, and Lando and Pow. He's also been keeping General Skywalker on defense, especially in the last 1 week. Let me quickly show you that. So if I take a look at that, General Skywalker. So you can see over here, he has kept General Skywalker in the last week, probably because he got Jedi Master Luke and he was using that on offense. So I can probably expect to see General Skywalker on defense as well this week. So that's why I've kept him as a team over here. And what I've done is I've kept tentative counters that I want to take against all of these teams up north. Now, once I have this probable defense and counter sheet ready, then I know what I'm going to save on offense, and the rest of my teams I can safely go ahead and put it on defense because they're going to be my toughest teams that I won't need, and that will potentially allow me to keep a relatively tough defense and still keep both my GLs on offense. So that's the overall strategy. Let me go into the actual match itself, and I can show you guys what kind of a defense I've set and what I'm going to be taking against my opponent. So we are. So this is a pre-recorded match. So one thing about this particular match is given the fact that my opponent attacks at the last moment, and that's something else I wanted to show you. Over here, you see a clock over here. Player attack UTC. So another piece of information that you get from swgoh.gg is the time in which your opponent has gone on offense in UTC. So with this particular data, I can extrapolate exactly how many times my opponent has gone at what particular time. So I can see over here that my opponent almost all the time he goes at 21 or 9 o'clock UTC, which is exactly 1 hour before the attack phase closes. So he's a guy who likes to go at the last moment in the last hour. So that's another useful piece of information to have. That means you can expect not that your opponent not to attack you until a specific time. So that's another advantage of this data dump from swgoh.gg is you can estimate exactly what time your opponent is going to go and make your strategy accordingly. So since I knew that my opponent is going to go at the last hour, and I wouldn't have the time to really make a video live during that last hour, given that my laptop would be occupied. So I decided to pre-record my videos and then do the voiceover. So what you're going to see over here is going to be I'm going to play back the video, and I'm going to do a voiceover to tell you exactly what happened. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's my opponent's stats. So let me briefly talk to you about the defense that I've set. So I've set Padme and Darth Revan down south over here. And Padme I've kept with Shakti just because my Shakti is a little faster, and I wanted to save R2D2 for that feat. I think it is a Maker, Thank the Maker feat. And at the back over here, I've kept my gas team and Mando, the Beskar Mando. I decided to try him out on defense to see how he does. The fifth, I didn't keep Cara Dune because I wanted Cara on offense, but I kept Stormtrooper Han in there because when you're keeping the Beskar Mando team on defense, it's best to have at least 2 tanks. You have your IG-11, who's a tank, a pre-taunter, and he can give himself taunt as well. And then you have another tank. You can use either L3 or any other scoundrel tank that you want, Zalbar or something like that. My L3 and Zalbar are not relics, so I went with Stormtrooper Han. So curious to see how this team does. So I'm with my Padme team and my DR team in front. I'm hoping to pull out the gas and DR counter so that those are not available to take out these teams at the back. So that's the bottom zone, and up top I have kept Grievous with Newt. I've kept my crew team, and then I've kept heroes under Finn. That I think might cause some problems. And at the back, I've kept both my get ships on defense. Let's take a look at my opponent's battles or his defense. So as expected, he's kept the new team with Dooku, Wampa, Droideka, Django. And as expected, he's kept Padme with R2. And he's kept his SLKR team as well on defense. And this is the non-Daka zombie version that I was expecting to see, given that that's what the trend was in the last week. Let's see what he has down south. In the south, blocking the zone at the back, here my opponent threw me for a loop. So he did set his Grievous with BB-8 like I was expecting. So that was good to see. I do have the Night Sister counter save for that. But I was expecting him to keep gas on defense, but he kept his Jedi Master Luke on defense. So he had two GLs. He's kept both his GLs on defense, which is going to be tricky for me because I didn't expect this. So probably he saw my battle history and saw that I like to keep both GLs on offense. So he felt that it might be easier for him to counter my offense and have me struggle by keeping both the GLs on defense. So that was his thought process over here. So he's got Jedi Knight Luke under Jedi Master Luke over here, which is going to be a little tricky, especially with Hoda in there as well. So I'll need to figure out something to overkill this with and still be able to manage the SLKR team up top. I was hoping to use my Jedi Master Luke against SLKR, but I might have to mirror over here, as you'll see. So first, I decide to go with my Night Sister counter against Grievous with BB-8. Unless Watt is in there, Night Sisters are really a very reliable counter. I would say even if Newt is in there, I would not use Night Sisters, but a plain Separatist Grievous squad, a droid squad, or a squad with BB-8, Grievous is perfectly fine. The Night Sisters are perfectly fine to use over here, as long as you have Daka healthy and not ability blocked. It's perfectly fine. You can use this counter. So here you can see I've got rid of BB-8, and if here I had some bad luck in the revives. Only one sister got revived. All three of them were dead, but only one of them got revived. And now I think my Dark has at yellow health, but I do get the revive again. And again, only two sisters got revived. Usually I have all five sisters reviving, but not really having much luck over there. But quickly it just comes down to only Grievous. And once it reaches this stage, it's pretty easy to control Grievous with Plague and Stun. So after this stage, it's pretty simple matter to just heal up completely and then end with full health and full protection on or full health at least on all your sisters. So 55 banners is the standard that you need to that you usually get if you get a little bit of luck and you play it right. So the Grievous team was taken care of relatively cheaply. I didn't have to waste any Jedi over there. And I didn't have my Beskar Mando on offense as well to take out the Grievous squad. And that's another thing, basically. So since I knew that my opponent always likes to keep BB-8 with Grievous, I knew that Beskar Mando is not going to work because he won't be able to outspeed the Grievous team, which is why I decided to keep Beskar Mando on defense. So that's another reason. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm modifying my own defenses and offenses and customizing them to what my opponent usually does. So that's an example of that. So now comes the Jedi Master Luke mirror match. Here I took in my own. I took in good Jedi over here because I didn't want to. I wanted to end with decent banners, and I didn't want to risk it, taking in lesser Jedi's and then losing the match. So my goal was I take in JKR, I mark Jedi Knight Luke because he's the main damage dealer and the main danger. As long as I'm able to get him under control, I felt that I should be okay. So here you can see I luckily my Jedi Master Luke was faster, so I was able to apply ability block and push the turn meter back a little bit and mark Jedi Knight Luke. And now I'm just trying to get him down, and then I can focus on getting the other characters down. Now there's no more big damage dealers in here. Jedi Master Luke can cause some disruption, but it shouldn't be a problem when you've got some powerful Jedi like Jedi Knight Revan, Yoda, Jedi Master Luke and Jedi Knight Luke in there with a Jolie for a revive, there's really not much of a problem in managing this. So I'm trying to take down the other Jedi first, and it becomes much easier to take Jedi Master Luke out once he's the only Jedi remaining. So, and I have plenty of time as well. So I'm taking my time. I'm doing a measured approach and trying to see if I can recover as many banners as I can, given that the battle is very much under control. So I deliberately target Hermit Yoda, even though he's not that dangerous at all. But I'm just trying to give myself time to get some of these Jedi with lower protection back. So Jedi Master Luke Special obviously is able to recover some amount of protection for whoever assists. Here you can see I get my ultimate. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get all the protection recovered with Jedi Master Luke, but at least Revan, I think I should be able to get him back. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to call Yoda, Revan, anyone else whose protection is missing a little bit, and trying to get the protection back. You'll notice over here I didn't take my own Hoda in here because I wanted to save Hoda with Rey to take out the SLKR, and you'll see that battle a little later. So 59 banners over here, relatively decent outcome. And now I expose the back, and as expected, in the back I see the Mon Mothma team, the same comp that I was expecting to see, and the Night Sister team, which is Talzin lead with Nest in there. So we will come back to these two squads a little later. I think what I do is I focus on finishing off the SLKR team up north, given that that's the toughest other team to take out. So I take my Ray team in here, and you can see over here I don't have my good resistance because I've kept my heroes on defense with Finn. I've kept JTR also there, and I wanted to save BB-8 and R2 for the droid feat. So I thought, because Ray versus SLKR is a very dicey battle. Just like SLKR versus Ray usually ends with only SLKR standing, Ray versus SLKR, your whole team is probably going to get destroyed, and Ray will probably be the last one standing. And depending on the timing of the ultimate, it can go either way. Ray can it'll always almost always come down to Ray versus Kylo, but depending on the timing of the ultimate, Ray can lose the battle, especially if the heroes are not in there. So what I did was, given that the main source of damage for Ray is going to be the whirlwind, that's how she's going to be taking out the characters around her. I decided to go in with Watt and Hermit just to give her some extra health and defense, and go in with a pre-taunter L3, and then with Old Ben also to apply some ability block on the enemy team. And my goal would be to one-shot it. I would get very poor banners, obviously 48 or something like that, but I do have some backup plans in case this doesn't go according to plan. So you can see over here, my Ray was faster than the Skylo, which allowed me to keep some um, the lifeblood up on L3, but they did manage to take a turn. And now you can see I'm applying ability block on everyone with my Old Ben. At this stage I decide to take people out and not do um, the lifeblood anymore. And unfortunately over here, Kylo did get his ultimate, so my whole team got taken out essentially. I didn't even have a chance to put Master's Training on my Ray. And it's not looking pretty good right now. We've got still 4 characters versus 2, and my L3 is not going to be doing anything much. So I decided to go into Ultimate and try to take out as many people as I can, and at least try to clean it up in the next shot. A lone Kylo Ren can be cleaned up relatively easily. You can see over here um, the Sith Trooper is still around, so I decided to take care of him. And at this stage, there's really nothing much you can do to take care of Kylo. In one-on-one, Rey is almost never going to lose, never going to win against Kylo unless she has her ultimate, and that way she can go into ultimate, get damage immunity, and wipe him out when she comes out of her ultimate. But if she's far away from her ultimate, then Rey is always going to lose the battle because Kylo gets to his ultimate too many times. So you can see over here, it was a defeat. I wasn't able to take out SLKR in a single shot, but I do have enough ways to clean up SLKR solo. So we'll come back to that a little later. Let's see. Let's go to the next match, which I think is going to be the Padme Squad. Yeah. So what I do over here is since I want to save my Thrawn and CLS for to take out the SLKR, I decide to use EP and Darth Vader and Traya to take out the Padme. I was initially going to use CLS against Padme because that's a guaranteed 60, but I want to use CLS to clean up SLKR now with Thrawn, which is why I don't have Thrawn as well in this particular team. Because I usually like to take Thrawn against Padme for the extra fracture apart from isolate. But you can see over here, I didn't manage to land enough dots, so Vader didn't get to take another turn right away. But because of the turn meter generation in this team, my team under EP lead does get to take plenty of turns. So EP lead with the Treya, Citreo, and Vader is a pretty hard counter to the Padme squad, but only if C3PO is not there. And judging by my opponent's history, that wasn't going to be the case. So I felt comfortable saving this particular team on offense to take out Padme. So the goal should always be to take out Anakin as soon as you can. Here, obviously, he had crit immunity, so wasn't able to take him out right away, but did take care of him with Traya. And now I'm just trying to take out Snips next, who is going to be the next main damage dealer because she assists a lot. Um, so I go and do an ability block over there, and then I think this should probably take her out either now or when she takes a turn. There you go. So she was taken out, and now it's just a question of working on the others. And the turn meter generation in this team is so much that the enemy team barely gets to take a turn. So, so there you go. I enter into my second Merciless, take care of Padme, I believe. Yep, take care of Padme, and then I take care of the other two relatively easier. So straightforward battle, not the greatest banners because there's no Thrawn to help you recover banners towards the end. Usually, what I like to do is I like to uh, delay a little bit on the last one remaining GK or something like that, and then recover banners with Thrawn. But you'll see over here why I need Thrawn is to clean up the solo SLKR. So here I see, check to see if my opponent has gone or not. You can see over here, let me actually go back a little bit. I'll show you the timestamp over here. So you can see over here the timestamp is 53 minutes and 36 seconds. So we are literally in the very last hour of the battle, and my opponent has still not gone. So I decided not to wait anymore and decided to go ahead and complete my attack phases because I kept checking every 5 minutes after every single battle whether my opponent has gone or not. But that's his style. That's his method. He usually tends to go in at the very last moment to do his battles. So let's go ahead and do the next battle, which I believe is going to be the SLKR cleanup. And here I go with the Thrawn for the fracture. The three main damage dealers are going to be the three original rebels. And then I've got Baze in there for the pre-taunt in case Kylo Ren decides to do his big hit. So there we go. I have so unfortunately, my guard was taken up by base, so that's why CLS doesn't have guard. But that's fine. Once you get the fracture out, it's pretty easy enough to go ahead and take down Kylo with the amount of damage that Han, Chewie, and CLS can do. So we didn't even need to wait for Thrawn to get out of fracture to for us to finish the job. So that team was taken care of, and now the rest of the teams should be pretty easily managed. So against the Newt squad, I'm going to take in my Aura Singh. And here, instead of the usual fifth that I go with, which is usually going to be someone like Boba Fett or Dengar, I decided to go in with Moff Gideon. So if you remember, I made a video some time back about using Moff Gideon with Scoundrels under Beskar Mando. He's a great fifth in almost any team like that. Any team which requires turn meter manipulation, requires control. Moff Gideon is an amazing plug-and-play character. So just like I used him with the Scoundrel team under Beskar Mando, I'm using him here with Aura Singh and an original Mando to control the team. So let's see how this battle goes. So my Moff Gideon is at 308 speed. He's the fastest, so he's going to go ahead and reduce anyone's turn meter. And then it allows my team to go next and get a turn up. So even though their Dooku was pretty fast, I think 290 speed or something like that, my whole team is able to go fast and control the battle right away with stuns and all of that. Just because Moff Gideon gives you that advantage. So you can see over here, I've got the contract. Even before the enemy team has had a chance to go, I took care of the Relic Wampa because he's the biggest danger out there. Both Django as well as Droideka are not relics, so I felt comfortable leaving them for the last. And Aura can very well control everyone with their stuns. So I always call Aura to assist whenever I'm playing with this team, just because she manages to land those stuns and control the team pretty effectively. And I have her modded for tons of offensive, or I have her modded for tons of potency just to help with that. So you can see over here the team has not yet taken a single turn, and I'm pretty much ripping through them pretty comfortably with no issues at all. Um, I believe now, yeah, because Django has got the maximum turn meter, I decide to stun him a little bit, and now I can take care of Droideka right away. And still, the team hasn't got a chance to go. So that's why when you have these kind of control teams where you want to control the flow of the battle, Moff Gideon is amazing out there. Whether it's the Beskar Mando team, whether it's a Troopers team, where again you control the battle and don't allow the enemy to go. In the Troopers team, Piet is actually a better option than Beskar than Gideon. But any other team like that where you want to seize control of the battle, Gideon is just an amazing tool to have. So here I just try to take care of, I think, Newt to avoid him getting um, any more revives or extortion out. And you can see over here end with a clean 60 banners. So cheap team to take against something like Newt, which typically costs banners. No surprise on the ships. As expected, we saw the two ships that we expected. So here I'm going to go ahead and complete the ship battles and then go down south. So against the rebel fleet, I briefly considered going for a rebel mirror, but his Admiral Akbar was the same speed as mine. It was pretty relicked up, or it had 60 mods. So I decided to not risk a mirror because mirror can go either way if the opponent's rebel fleet is decently modded. So I decided to go in with my Empire fleet for um, just for the extra anti-rebel synergy that Tarkin's fleet has. And I started with fives to land the initial target lock and get the TIE bomber to start taunting, and then it's just a question of getting. Um, Getting this team down as soon as possible before they do too much damage. Because if the Y-Wing comes in, then he can potentially take your TIE bomber out by getting rid of his protection. So you need to try to take the team out before the Y-Wing gets a chance to do much damage. So I call in the Emperor shuttle first just to get some additional healing on TIE bomber. And here you can see the Y-Wing came in and caused the disruption that I was really afraid of, which is getting rid of TIE bomber's protection. And without protection, the TIE bomber can get really squishy. And unfortunately, Tarkin doesn't have any heal, so I'm not able to get any heals done on my on my Empire bomber. But I am able to land a burning one more time before before the bomber gets taken out. So here you can see the bomber gets taken out before I had a chance to heal it also, because if it was just one turn later, my Emperor shuttle would have been able to heal the bomber, and I would have been able to save both my bomber as well as my Emperor shuttle and taken the enemy team out. So a little bit unfortunate. Ended with only 57 banners. That should have been closer to 62, 63. But that's fine. At least it was a one-shot victory. And then for the Empire fleet, I decided to take in my own Radis. I've been using the Radis against Empire for quite a while, especially if they start with Imperial TIE Fighter like my enemy just did. You can use Poe to one-shot him because it doesn't have any protection, can't evade, it does a critical hit. And then you're down to 3 versus 2 right away, right after the first turn. So here I think I'm just trying to land a daze over there and trying to get rid of the the taunt from Houndstooth. If you see, I saved my dispel over here until after the burning went out, just so that I can dispel all of that and I don't have to worry about burning all the other debuffs. And then I'm just trying to work my way and trying to get down as many teams as I can and end with as much and get to my ultimate as soon as I can. So here I do. I'm trying to. I get the raised Millennium Falcon out, and I'm trying to get as much damage done as I can on the Imperial TIE Bomber. And you can see over here the TIE Bomber is pretty resilient, but it's a good thing that there's no Vader in there because that would have made this team a little more tough. I'm still a little confused about why my opponent didn't keep Vader in his Empire fleet. But probably this has been working for him to, strip banners from the enemy team. So no surprise there. So the Xanadu blood comes out and gives retribution to Houndstooth, which is never fun. But luckily, I have my ultimate on, and I'm able to take care of the team pretty easily. Unfortunately, over here, the Houndstooth has got retribution, so he's able to cleanse all of those debuffs that my ultimate was able to do. But it should be still pretty straightforward trying to clean this up, because once the capital ships are gone, the enemy doesn't get any of the bonuses that the capital ship had. So Tarkin had tons of offensive bonuses, for example. Oh no, this is not the Tarkin. This is the Chimera fleet. So all the bonuses that the capital ship that Chimera is giving to the ships is not going to matter anymore, because the ship is gone. So that's why it's relatively easier to clean up the ship after Radis gets to use its ultimate. So I do as much healing as I can, and then I'm just trying to work down on the Houndstooth as much as I can, and trying to end with as many clean banners as I can. And this big hit should take care of it. And I believe I end with 63 banners. That's right. So decent enough outcome over here. Now, you can see over here there's only 22 minutes left, and my opponent has started attacking. Finally, I think in the last half an hour or something is when he started attacking. And I can show you the defenses. So they were able to one-shot my Grievous, and they're working on the team up north. But down south, I think they struggled a little bit, and I'll show you that I think in the later part of the video. But now, given that there's only 22 minutes left, and I know that my opponent has struggled and they won't be able to full clear me even if they have time, I decide to go ahead and complete some feats. First, what I do is I need to take out the Talzin team first, because this can get problematic, especially with Nest in there, and I don't have any good meta teams in there that I can use to take this team out. So I use some of my leftover squads. I just put a Frankenstein squad together over here. I use my Basti Wampa, which is always good to have. I use Django in there because he's great against sisters. He prevents revives and all of that. I got Barris in there for the extra heal to get rid of some of the plague, and I got Dooku in there to ability block and stun Nest, and then hit under protection if needed to take her out. So I got a bunch of mishmash of characters just to try to control the situation. And you can see over here, I've got all the other sisters down, and I think I've killed them with Django so that they don't revive. But I'm trying to also end with decent amount of banners. And what I do over here is, so you can see Zombie already has 2 stacks. So I'm trying to control Nest with stuns and ability blocks. And at the same time, I'm trying to see if I can't take down Daka by herself, with Django preferably. So try to land another stun on Nest, which didn't work. But you can see over here, at least I don't have any plague on any of my characters, which is good. So now I think I'm just trying to take out Nest before she does too much damage. And here you can see I charge up my Wampa. It's a Relic Nest, I think Relic 3 or something like that. Charge up my Wampa and get some healing immunity out on the board, and then land a stun with Dooku and control Nest. And now I think I was trying to see if I could one-shot Nest with this hit, but that wasn't enough. And here Wampa did 1 AoE and took care of both the zombies. And here at this stage, I I was considering leaving Nest, timing this battle out and leaving Nest over here at this stage, just to be able to complete some of those stupid feats which were available only for the last battle, like the Ugnaught, K2SO, and IPD feat. I mean, there's just no way that you can take something like that against a regular team, unless you go in with a GL or something like that as a crutch. But since my opponent had a reasonable defense, I couldn't do that. So I thought I'll leave Nest over here and then go in with a stronger squad and then finish it off with the Ugnaught, K2SO, and IPD. But then I decided against it and thought I'll just finish the battle off right now. Um, Feats are really not going to really make a difference, I guess, in my standings in the leaderboard, as I'll show you towards the end of the video. So I just finished off Nest, ended with 57 banners, and for the last one, so here you can see over here, my opponent reached the back zone, but wasn't, but didn't really do anything much over there. So for the last team, the Mon Mothma team, I decided to complete a feat over here because I felt that, the Thank the Maker feat, which had 5 of these droids that you could use, I felt that this combination of droids was reasonable enough to do enough damage to one-shot the Mon Mothma team. So I felt I would take in the resistance droids, the 3 resistance droids in there, along with the Chupio, um, as well as T3M4, and those ones should be able to get the damage done against these guys because my droids are going to be faster because of BB-8, and anytime that BB-8 gets attacked, as you'll see over here, he and I hit everyone using R2 except for BB-8, and every time BB-8 gets attacked, he's going to do he's going to do a retribution on these characters, and then either R2D2 or R2D2 or C3PO is going to assist again. So that's basically what's going to happen over here. So here you can see BB-8 does the attack, C3PO or R2D2 assist, and then Chupio assists along with them because they are rebels attacking. So this is actually a nice team if you want to get the multiple attacks going, because you leave BB-8 out in the open, and then every time the enemy hits him, you get 3 to 4 different attacks happening over there. So I've cleared the whole zone, opponent zone, for 2088 banners. That's the final score that I had. I lost one battle, if you remember, on the SLKR, so lost 20 banners over there, which was double shot. Everything else was one shot. So 2088 banners, which is not the best, but my opponent dropped a battle on the DR down south and struggled a lot against the SLKR team over here. 4 battles and still not touched it. And he wasn't able to touch the Django team as well as the Beskar Mando team, the Beskar Mando team, or the gas team down south. They probably didn't have anything left at all after keeping both the GLs on offense plus Padme and Grievous and some of the other teams. They didn't have anything on offense to take out after they had exhausted themselves on the rest of my tough defense. So they struggled to take out the SLKR, the crew team, but they were able to get through it after 4 battles. But as you can see over here, there's only 11 minutes left, and they still haven't touched my ships, and they're definitely not going to get through my bottom zone as well. So I'll show you the final results. So I collected all of the feats, and the final result was I did win the battle. My opponent cleared 3 of my zones for 1741 banners, and ended with 1741, and he didn't even bother touching the teams at the back. So you can see over here, double tap on DR. 4 hits against the crew team, or the crew team with the Hux in there, and one shot my ships, no problem over there. Although he did get low banners, about 55 to 58 on both of these, and then wasn't didn't have time and didn't have the teams to even touch or attempt any of the teams down south. So pretty satisfactory way for me to end the season. It was a good victory. It was a tough defense and relatively decent banners over here. So Now I want to show you the final outcome of this season. So what I do is at the end of every season, so I usually track my offensive wins in GAC, and I've been tracking it right since the beginning of when history started getting tracked in swguh.gg. So you can see over here for the last 12 seasons that we have for the last 11 seasons that we have history in swguh.gg. This is my win record. The greens are the wins that I've had, and the red or the tan bars over here are cells over here are where I've lost. And you can see over here the first few seasons I've usually had between 1 to 3 losses per season. That's the time when I was putting a really heavy defense, doing a lot of doing a lot of themes, and then in the last 5 seasons is when I started to get a little more serious about GAC and started playing a decent game. Let me record the win over here. So you can see over here the last 5 seasons I've been having a pretty decent run. I've only lost twice in the last 5 seasons, and ended in with pretty decent ranks in the leaderboard as well in the last 5 seasons. Just because I've been going a little more offense heavy for the last 3 seasons, I've kept all my GLs on defense all of the time, and still keep a tough defense to try to take out to try to stop my enemies, and at the same time ensuring the full clear. So that has actually landed me 64 in season 12, and hopefully it'll land me a top 50 in season 14, which is the current season right now. So let's actually go take a look at Grand Arena standings right now and see where we are right now. I've collected all my feats. I've done um, all of the feats that I needed to do, collected the fleet feats, and I'm currently sitting at number 40. And there's about 8 hours since the attack phase has ended, still 14 hours for the review phase. So a few more people might come in and claim some feats and or claim their Grand Arena victory and get ahead of me, depending on the time zone. So I might slip a little bit further, but I'm hoping that I'll still end up in the top 50, which is going to be my highest finish, I think, so far, because I've finished at number 64 before. That is my previous best, but this I think is probably going to be my best rank so far. Um, and hoping for a repeat in the 3v3 season as well, because that's my comfort zone. That's where I tend to do a little better. So anyway, I'll leave in the comments the final rank that I am ending up at the end of the review period, so that you guys know exactly where I ended up. Or you could just go take a look at the Division 1 leaderboard and check my name over there in the top 50 to see if where I finally land up towards the end of the review period tomorrow. So that's going to be my goal, to end up at in the top 50. My personal favorite is, I think I want to go in for, if if it happens, I would love to be at number 42. Just because I'm a big Douglas Adams fan, and the number 42 has big significance for me. So hopefully I'll end up there, but you never know. But I'll give you guys an update in the comments about where I finally end up in this particular season in terms of ranking. So that's it for this particular season of Grand Arena. I had a really good season, really good time. I think I'm liking the offense heavy, keeping GLs on offense kind of a strategy, which I'm definitely going to replicate in the 3v3 season as well. I may put out a 3v3 refresher specific video. I had done one video like that a few seasons ago, but I may just put out another one in a few days, depending on if I have time or not. So be on the lookout for that particular video. All right, that's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in. I had a fun time this season. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this match. I will catch you guys in a week's time when we head into the 3v3 season. Until then, thanks for tuning in and happy gaming. I'll see you.